for Aries rising, the Aries full moon is going to be affecting your first house. This means that you're going to be changing and challenging the ways that you are perceived, that you are presented, and that you move throughout the world. You'll be working on yourself internally and externally, but mostly to project yourself differently. You're going to be reassessing your own values and what is perceived of you. And I think in the long term, this new perception and projection that you're putting out is going to attract something. Maybe in the next few moon cycles, you'll see something come boomerang around to you that is in direct correlation with the effort and the work that you are cementing now. For more astrology and tarot content, visit me on www.lineagehealing.online. Thank you. For Taurus rising or Taurus prominent placements, the full moon is going to affect your 12th house. The 12th house is about everything coming to surface. Everything subconscious, manifestations that we've been wanting to reap in the past now show up. So I think with the full moon being here and the full moon being in a more aggressive, action-oriented sign of Aries that is ruled by Mars, I think it will become clear to you in a daunting way that it's time to take action towards your manifestations coming to life if they haven't done so already. Also, I think we'll be getting visions of how to materialize this if you feel worthy, which you definitely should. It could also be confessions of your work or your work in progress that are actually good enough to come out. So it's about value and assessment that, am I good enough? Is my work good enough? The answer is yes, Taurus, it is. For Gemini placements and Gemini rising, the full moon in Aries is taking place in your 11th house of social groups, friendships, norms, societal norms. And so with it being in the 11th house, I feel like we're at a prominent place now when we're saying, is what I've invested into these groups, into these friends, into these clubs that I'm networking in, that I'm around, enough for me? Am I getting fed mentally? Am I stimulated? Am I accepted in the way that I want to be? Is it even worth my time? And if it is, then it becomes more clear to you. But if it's not, or they're not, then you're definitely going to be cutting ties and moving away and making room and making room so that you can join things that are more aligned with the life around you that you want to cultivate. For Cancer placements or Cancer rising, the full moon in Aries will be affecting your 10th house. The 10th house rules reputation, public career image, workplace status, etc. So I think with the Aries full moon, we're really coming to a culmination point where you realize that some places you do have to put your foot down. And it doesn't matter if the person is looking at you like an overwhelming figure. If you are not getting what you deserve, you really need to stand your ground or leave. If they're not respecting your boundaries, whether it's at work or co-workers perhaps, you're gonna need to walk away. You're gonna need to be okay with revamping and freshening up your whole work status if it's not where you want it to be. And if it is where you want it to be, perhaps you just need to come across differently. Perhaps people have you mistaken for a kind of tyrant, and you're not. However, just be careful of passive aggression and stepping on others to climb to where you want to be. Don't overwhelm others with your sentiments and your emotions. Just make a clear decision with your boundaries and what you need and what you're okay with in a non-conformist way, non-confrontational way, but make it known. For Leo risings and Leo placements, this Aries full moon is taking place in your 9th house. The 9th house rules higher knowledge, philosophy, and your attitude of life, or the way you're willing to perceive it. So this full moon, it honestly blows your mind. If you had a dream that you're pursuing, you may come to realization, whether you're in dreams or just through messages throughout the day, that your dreams are possible, and it is also a possibility that it can be much bigger than you ever expected. Let's say you wanted to pursue one career and you just say, oh, I'm gonna be a nurse. Turns out you're gonna be a traveling nurse that works with celebrities. It's so much bigger than what we anticipated. And you realize I can grow so much more than I ever gave myself the room to. And I don't have to just grow in this one area. I can grow in this city or in this country or in this state. And so you're getting used to more prosperity, and you're seeing where you are and where you can still go, this long journey that we still have yet to go, but you're proud of yourself for how far you've come, and you're still given room to go more into this philosophical avenue that you're wanting to pursue, as if you're wanting to learn more. So you are correct. Your life is correct. You're on the correct page, and I hope that the full moon brought that to you in a nice and peaceful way. For Virgo placements or Virgo rising, the full moon in Aries is hitting your 8th house. With it being in your 8th house, it's a lot of truths coming to light about what you've been receiving from others, and you deciding if it's worth it and if you feel equally reciprocated with the energy that you've given. Is this relationship enough? Is this income enough? Where you've been passive. Let's say every week you make $800, and for the past 4 months you've been making $800 a week. So now you're like, hold on, let me take control back. That it's about control, because it's about Aries. Aries likes to control. Aries likes to be aggressive and on top and in charge. So it's you dictating, I'm in charge, I want to make this much, I deserve this much. And from now moving forward, these are the changes that are going to take place. It's you having more of a backbone, having better posture. Not literally, but in all areas of life, finances, intimate relationships. It's saying, okay, I've indulged in this, but it hasn't given me enough. I'm going to move on. I've indulged in this, but it's not giving me what I need, what I want. I'm moving on. We're only investing in things that propel us forward to the future and to better. Thanks, Virgo. Libra rising or Libra prominent placements, the full moon in Aries is going to be in your 7th house of one-on-one and personal relationships. I think that this full moon is going to highlight and bring to life the limitations that others have put you in and that you've agreed to, because no one can force us to do anything. So you're going over things that were a certain way, and perhaps you were too passive. Perhaps you were too, well, that's fine. And then you look over this time, the specific time period, which is the full moon, makes you look at it and go, wait, that's not fine. Wait, that's not enough. And I do deserve more. And I should have more for myself. I shouldn't be so dependent on what another person is willing to give me. This is mine. And my energy and time is also value. It's valuable, so it needs to be valued more. So something I also wrote down is going for it directly and not messing with the middleman. If there was a middleman, or if there was a place in between you and the finances or you and the contract, you just call the company directly. You call the director, the head director directly, and you speak with them. You don't speak with someone telling you, they said it's $500. Okay, it's 800. You have to go directly and find out from the source what the truth is, so that you can cut ties if it's not serving you, or you can expand in other ways. Maybe the relationship wasn't for you. Maybe it's time to move on and ask for better. Thanks, Libra. Scorpio rising or Scorpio prominent placements, the full moon in Aries affects you in the 6th house, and you are breaking through walls that were built before, and you are more energized after the full moon. Give it some days, because I know that it kind of drains our energy, but the 6th house governs what? Our routine, our self-care, caring for others. But we cannot care for others if we do not care for ourselves. So we cannot pour from an empty cup. This full moon will illuminate the places that you've projected in your mind already. I want to be this person, and I'm comfortable letting go of past functions that aren't aligning with that. And you want to see yourself be better. You are willing to change the limitations, whether they were self-imposed or imposed through others, to be this better version of yourself. The output has to match what you've envisioned. So if you want to be that person that goes on a jog at 6 a.m., you're going to be that person. And if you want to be more calm and grounded in your work sphere and not so all the time, then you will be that. So this is just highlighting what we've been saying that we wanted to do or that we wanted to be, and now we're giving the momentum to break through that small little veil that was holding us back, and we are now that person. Sagittarius rising or Sagittarius placements, I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, so the full moon is in the 5th house. However, I don't think that we can give all the credit to the moon. Thank you, you're wonderful and beautiful, but let's remember all the planets that have been direct. Okay, so this push forward, this revival is not only for the full moon, it's from Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, all direct now. So yes, it's a revival and there's fireworks and you reawaken to all the sensual pleasures of life, all the creativity, all the romance, and not just romance from others, but the way that we romanticize life. We remember what's pleasurable for us. If we like going out to eat and getting dressed, we're gonna do that. If we like adventures and short trips and hey, I'm gonna go here for the weekend, we are doing that. We're just gonna be bolder and bigger, and we're gonna be living in our dreams. As adventurous as we are taking these creative projects and these creative peaks, and we're breathing and speaking and living them in life. We're here now. Let's bring our dream reality here now. Thanks, Sag. Capricorn rising or Capricorn placements. The full moon in Aries is affecting your 4th house of home, stability, security, mother, native land, etc. So because it's a full moon, we see things come to a full circle. And when in regards to your home, you could be on either side of this fence. So part of you says, hey, look, I've completed all of this and I now have everything I've once wanted. It's taken care of. Maybe something you wanted to do at home that you've done. It could be even like a work from home project. You see it actually blooming and you're like, oh my God, I did do that. Or we can be on the other side of the spectrum, depending on other placements in your chart, where you're happy with the stability you've created with yourself, but you're also brought to this awareness that you now say and think, hey, there's more out there. Hey, I can actually maybe do something a little different and bring that little pizzazz home. There's more than these 4 walls of my home security, and you start to get curious, like, what if I go out there and try something new? I always have the security and safety to come back to. So it's a good time to explore new avenues, and just rejoice in what you do have, but don't close yourself off to new opportunities as well. Aquarius rising or prominent placements. So the full moon in Aries is in your 3rd house of sibling communication, local communities, teachers, etc. The 3rd house is traditionally ruled by Mercury. So with Mercury being direct now, that frees up communication. We now think more clear, and communication in terms of technology goes over easy. So I could make the prediction that if you were in a feud with a sibling, perhaps you now see things differently. You gloss over them differently. You're not so upset anymore. It just doesn't matter. Yes, information becomes more clear. You can see where you have jumped to conclusions, or we could be doing that presently, so we want to take a step back and assess that every dot is filled, every I and T is dotted and crossed before we make these conclusions that can change the way people feel about us or the way that we feel about these things. As they are more close to us, they can affect us more. Pisces rising or prominent Pisces placements. The full moon in Aries lights up the 2nd house in your chart. The 2nd house is ruled by Libra, but it's values, possessions, things that we find valuable that we're willing to spend money on, etc. So the previous full moon, I think last month, was in Pisces, right? So I feel like when this moon in Aries came around, if we needed any type of validation that we are enough, and if you are a creative self-expression person and you possibly have a project that you were working on and you were waiting for something to tell you you are good enough and this work is good enough to put out there, this is it. This is the time now. So you're viewing yourself a little more confident because we now have insight from that previous full moon. The only thing I would be aware of is overspending, spending because you feel good, spending because it's an activity, just doing it too frivolously. We need to be careful of that, but other than that, your skills and assets are on fire and you feel super on top, you feel triumphant, you feel like that little oomph is back, and I'm very happy for you. Just be a little careful of feeling high and mighty.